mission which is going to be unveiled today. At the same time, it is in line with our Telangana Rising vision, which we are going to unveil on 9th of December. The national roadmap outlined by Niti Aayog targets basically a number of steps have been suggested, and I'll just cover a couple of them. The most important to my mind is the incubation of globally competitive startups and capacity building in quantum technologies, setting up quantum thematic labs. The bottom line is that quantum is not just a scientific revolution. It is going to become the driver of economic growth, global leadership, and strategic autonomy for Viksit Bharat. We wholeheartedly commend the efforts of Niti Aayog in setting a bold direction that will shape India's technological leadership in the times to come. When it comes to our Telangana strategy, there are mainly 6 pillars what we have worked on that. First one is research and innovation and collaboration with mainly 3 pillars: academia, research institutions, and industry partners. Skilling and making our workforce future ready for that, that is the second important aspect. Enabling the startup ecosystem in the field of quantum technologies. Adopting into various sectors where we can find the solutions of the problems which citizens face in their day-to-day lives. Cyber security is one of the important pillars for that. And global positioning. In fact, I would like to mention that the way I just mentioned about artificial intelligence. So, artificial intelligence we have done in the last around 15-20 years and a lot of work now. We are on the path to create the country's largest AI hub. That also is based on collaboration with global institutions. When I say global, I mean I include Ivy League institutions also. At the same time, collaboration with the globally renowned AI hubs, and of course, training our workforce here to make them future ready. Similarly, I feel that in quantum field, we are going to start a journey where it will help Telangana to become the leader in the country in the field of quantum technologies. With these words, I again thank Niti Aayog and appreciate everybody here who is listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. It's now my privilege to invite a distinguished national leader who has played a pivotal role in shaping India's digital transformation narrative and the country's emerging technology policies. Ms. Devyani Ghosh is a distinguished fellow at Niti Aayog and one of India's most influential voices in tech, innovation, and digital economy. She is a former president of NASSCOM, where she spearheaded India's transition into a global hub for emerging technologies. A strong advocate for responsible and human-centric technology, Devyani ma'am continues to guide India's strategic direction in the adoption of frontier technologies across sectors. Please welcome Ms. Devyani Ghosh.
Thank you very much, Shrikant. Respected Deputy Chief Minister, IT Minister, Dr. Saraswat, Mr. Subramaniam, and Sanjay ji, and all our wonderful guests who have turned up. It's wonderful to see the kind of interest in quantum in India and how much it's growing. So it's really fantastic. I have a very short presentation, and if we can have the presentation up, please, to talk about, before we even get to quantum and what's happening in quantum, can we understand what's happening with technology overall in India? Across the world. And what does it mean for India? And that, by the way, is the role of the Niti Frontier Tech Hub. The Niti Frontier Tech Hub, which has been set up in Niti Aayog, our job one is to understand how is technology evolving? Where is it going? What's going to happen with AI? What are the next big shifts? What do they mean? How do you unpack this? What do they mean? And what does it mean? What impact will they create for India, good and bad? Opportunities and risks. And usually when you understand a big tech shift, it takes a country at least 10 years to prepare for it. So we want to do it today to understand in the next 10 years what are those big tech shifts so that we can prepare for it from now, so that we put India in a position to lead in these disruptive shifts by 2035, by end of the decade, and make India truly what we call a frontier tech nation. Because that is going to be the make or break. That is going to determine whether India does become a developed nation, Viksit Bharat, by 2047 or not. Frontier technologies are going to be the key to enabling Viksit Bharat. So before I get into quantum, I'm going to take 1 minute, 2 minutes to talk about what are these mega technology shifts that we are seeing today. This is what we do, by the way, at the Frontier Tech Hub. We spend most of our time trying to understand what's coming. And if you look at the mega technology shifts, there are 3 key ones. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but if I break it all down, if I break down the problem and I try and understand at the core of it, what is driving the change, there are 3 big shifts. First, the cognitive revolution. The cognitive revolution is basically the evolution of intelligence. You have artificial today, it's becoming more and more autonomous, and I think we are already in the agentic era, but early days, but we are definitely going to see an explosion in agentic AI. It's going to move to artificial super intelligence. I think that's well within the next 5 years that's going to happen. And ultimately what everyone talks about, AGI, which I'm not a very big fan of, but we know that it's going to be coming. But when? I don't think anyone really knows when. And to me, AGI will happen when AI, assuming, let's take an AI model that has not been trained on gravity. We have not trained it on gravity. We have not taught what gravity is. And you keep feeding in data about an apple falling. Will the AI be able to come out with the law of gravity or not? Absolutely not today. And that's the difference between humans and AI in my mind. AI still cannot do what Isaac Newton did when the apple fell on his head. And to me, until we get to that stage, I don't think we can talk about AGI, or we can say that AGI is a reality, right? So that's how we look at the evolution of cognitive powers. Then comes the entire frontier tech revolution, which is about science and technology coming together. And I think this revolution is going to be the most disruptive one in terms of impact. Imagine the power of AI and biology coming together to create programmable biology, where just as you can write codes today, you can code your DNA. Now imagine what that does in terms of opportunities as well as risks. Imagine AI and physics or AI and chemistry coming together to completely redefine material science, which will impact every single industry. So that's sort of the power of frontier technologies, and this is something that we are obsessed about and we are studying very deeply because we think this is going to be tremendously disruptive for India. And then you have the compute revolution, where we see 2 key things happening. One, compute getting decentralized. Compute moving out from centralized spaces to going to where the data exists. If the data exists on your fingertips, compute will exist on your fingertips. If the data exists in your DNA, very soon, I think, compute will be existing in your DNA, or the power to compute. So we are going to move towards a world of omni-compute, in the next decade. And that gets powered 100x with quantum. With quantum coming in, but quantum, what we see is this decade is going to be about quantum moving towards applied phase. But we were just discussing this in a roundtable this morning. It's not either or. It's not classic computing or quantum computing. Both are going to exist, but quantum computing will exist in those really high breakthrough use cases, whether it is drug development or weather disaster management, etc., right? So these are the 3 big revolutions: cognitive, frontier tech and compute, which we believe is going to disrupt everything. But the biggest disruption is going to be on what we call global superpowers or technopolitics. I think the biggest disruption is going to be the geopolitical landscape, where the control of supply chains in each of these areas, who controls AI supply chain, who controls rare minerals, who controls biotech, the control of supply chains is going to decide which country will have the higher negotiation power when it comes to trade, when it comes to politics. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest impact of technologies. It's going to completely disrupt what we call tech diplomacy or tech politics. And that's the job of Niti Frontier Tech Hub. Understanding these shifts and then trying to figure out what is the impact of these shifts on four things: the citizens, jobs, education. We've just published a roadmap on how the AI, just AI, forget about anything else, how just productivity gains from AI is going to completely disrupt the job landscape in India. And it is a given. We cannot wish it away. Right? It is going to disrupt the job landscape. We then look at what is going to be the disruption on industry. How is manufacturing going to change? How is agri going to change, etc., etc. What is the disruption on government? National security. Huge disruption coming our way. What is the disruption on how governments govern? And then last and not the least, as I talked about it, tech diplomacy, and what's the new world of tech diplomacy and what does it mean for India? The opportunity landscape, when you look at this, it's endless. There is no single industry that we can say is not touched or won't be disrupted. Everything we think about will get disrupted. And just as the opportunities grow, the risks grow. In fact, the risk landscape for India, it looks very different from what it did a few years ago. Our biggest risk is not your computer getting hacked anymore. Our biggest risk is our power grids getting hacked. Our biggest risk is our digital infrastructure getting hacked. Our biggest risk is cognitive warfare. What happens when people play with minds? Right? Our biggest risk in the coming years is going to be biowarfare. So the nature of risks, the nature of what we think about when we talk about risk is completely changing. Our biggest risk is also silos within India that stops us from getting the maximum impact out of our technology strategies and plans. Our biggest risk also is that we don't have full control of these critical supply chains or the lacking talent. This is the risk landscape, and it's something we really take into account as we are thinking through the roadmaps. So what does all this knowledge do? This results in what we are building out 10-year roadmaps. And if you go to the Niti Aayog website, look for Frontier Tech Hub, and within that, all of this is available for you to download. But every piece of work we are doing. But we have now looked at what is going to be the impact on economic growth. And as economies grow, we can't forget the grassroots. There's a huge 490 million informal workforce sector, 90% of our workforce. Who thinks about AI for that sector? Nobody. And unless we think about that, how is Viksit Bharat going to happen with such a large population being left out? So we've come out with a roadmap to cover that sector. We've looked at manufacturing. We've come out with the agri roadmap. We've come out with the jobs roadmap. And today, we're really thrilled to come out with the 10-year quantum roadmap. We have the quantum mission, which got launched in India, has really set a very strong foundation for India, if we get our act together, not to play catch-up, but to leapfrog into a leadership position in quantum. Now, what we do today and in the next few years is going to determine whether we achieve that leadership position or not. And this roadmap, which we are launching today, tells us what are those priorities we need to focus on. And, this work that we do is not possible without the best minds in India. Every work stream that we create, every project that we create has a group of experts who are some of the best names in that sector, in that domain, working with us to keep us grounded on reality and ensuring that the work that we are coming out with, the recommendations that we are coming out with are really actionable. And I'm truly grateful to the fantastic expert council that we have and to the partners that we've worked with, Amit Singhi, who's here and will be presenting shortly. I don't know how many nights he has spent working on this report, but he has been an amazing partner. And this is not a point of view of Amit, me, or any company. We have done extensive consultations across the ecosystem to ensure that this roadmap reflects the 360 point of view of the overall ecosystem about where quantum is going. So really looking forward to your feedback. You will get the copy of the report or download the copy of the report. Please spend time to go through it. This is so important, and do give us feedback. But thank you again for having us here, and we're really happy to be launching this in Telangana, because this is a state that, you know, I've had a long working technology relationship with Telangana from my NASCOM days. And I think this is a state that has always challenged status quo when it came to tech and disrupted the playbook. And I think if we want to lead, we have to do exactly that. We have to disrupt the playbook. We have to create the rules. So I'm really looking forward to working with the state of Telangana to figure out how we can take this forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. We now move to the technical presentation on the findings and recommendations of the National Quantum Roadmap by Amit Singhi. Amit Singhi is a director of IBM Research India and Chief Technology Officer of IBM India South Asia. He sets the strategy for forward-looking innovation across hybrid cloud, AI, quantum, cybersecurity, and sustainability. He holds a PhD from Carnegie Mellon and is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. Please welcome Dr. Amit Singhi.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at IIIT Hyderabad. You know, we've had a long relationship as an institution, and also personally. I was here a couple of years ago, the 25-year anniversary, so it's great to be here for this important milestone. And thank you to all the distinguished guests and the audience here. I have a presentation, if that can be brought up. Then I'll give a summary of what's inside the report. You should definitely find it online, download it and read it. Like Ms. Dejani said, there's a lot of great input from the expert council. Also, we did many consultations beyond that with subject matter experts across startups, academia, industry, government, and all of that is consolidated into the report. I want to thank my partners in crime. I think some of them are here. Chandrika Dutt from Avasant, Daya Sindhu from Itihasa, and Sheshashahi also from IBM, and several others who worked actually with me. It was not just me on the night oil, but them too. With that, let me go forward. What we did first is we tried to envision the state of quantum technology 10 years from now, saying that 2035 is a very good milestone to think about, because that will set the stage of where we can go beyond to 2047. And if we envision where quantum will be globally and try to align with that where India can be and how can India build opportunities with respect to that state of technology, that gives us a good grounding. And so we looked at these four verticals. Quantum sensing, we expect that there will be applications of quantum testing deployed across sectors such as defense, oil and gas. In quantum computing, we expect algorithms that have advantage and working with classical, with quantum setting computing, with systems that have more than 100,000 qubits. In quantum communication, we expect QKD-based systems deployed in early production. And we also expect in quantum materials and devices, a variety of different devices and materials being used broadly, whether it's single photon detectors and sources and other kinds of things. So this is not just an India statement, this is a technology vector statement, right, based on all the things we heard from the experts. When we looked at this, we felt that we had to analyze the domain in two dimensions. One is the stack. You know, to make this technology happen, what are all the parts of the technology stack that have to come together to get to this point in 2035? And this was a great view of the technology stack that talks about the hardware layer, including materials and devices, the supporting non-quantum hardware, and also the quantum and classical software that brings that hardware alive. On top of that, you have the providers who package this hardware and software into consumable products, whether those are cloud services, quantum computers, algorithms, and so on. And then at the top, you have the users, the applications, and the consumers where the value gets created at the end of the day. And it's important for us to understand the stack, and extremely important for India to have control points at every layer of the stack. That's why this is important, because if you have a hard dependency and you're missing at any of the layers, that means you're susceptible to any shocks in the system. And it'll be difficult for us to scale up. We also looked at it horizontally in terms of the value chain. The stack is how the tech comes together. Value chain is how the value flows, all the way from technology providers to hardware to algorithms, applications, and use cases, and the surrounding ecosystem, either the IP ecosystem, regulatory ecosystem that supports it. And if you look at this picture, there are areas where we have a good start, where you see some yellows and greens, thanks to work that's been going on and the additional impetus provided by the National Quantum System. But there are many areas which are in red, where we really need to accelerate. And we must establish presence in all parts of this value chain. We need to have providers and participants, both creators and users, in all parts of this value chain very rapidly to develop an economy around this. One very important thing we dive deeper into is the material supply chain. It's a piece of the value chain, but it's a really important control point, especially in today's geopolitics. This is just a view of it where you can see how for many different downstream quantum technologies, what are the different kinds of elements and materials needed for it? What are the primary countries where most of the supply or refinement comes from? And what are the alternatives? So this really tells us that we need to become one of those countries, at least in some of those areas, by developing our own indigenous capacity of mining and refining. And we need to establish resilient trade frameworks that allow us to have a consistent supply where we don't have that presence. So with all of this, we did a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis, a SWOT analysis, to say, okay, where are our strengths as a nation today? We have a lot of strengths in our human capital, in our strong institutions, in some of the work that started to happen with states coming in and the NQM. There's a lot of opportunity. This is an area, an entire economy that is yet to be formed. It's in early days. We're definitely not late to the game in any serious way. Can you just go back? I just want to make a couple of points. But where we focused a lot also are on the weaknesses, because that's really what the roadmap is about. Try and say, how do we address those weaknesses and overcome those? We can go forward. With all of this, we try to envision what would be our major milestones, we call it endpoints in 2035 for India's quantum economy. And there are four major things, four major areas. One is around startups and how much of the market we can capture. So we think we can have 10 globally champion quantum startups out of India with over $100 million worth of cumulative revenue, if we are aggressive, if we execute on this roadmap immediately, and we can capture 50% of the software and services value in quantum. Second, we think we need to become Atmanirbhar in quantum by having control points in the global supply chain that we control. Third, we need to see quantum tech deployed at scale in India in at least 3 different sectors, including strategic sector. That local market has to exist. We cannot just be dependent on global markets. That's where the innovation fly chain and the scaling will really come from. And then finally, we need to become a hub for scientific breakthroughs, because that is the source. Quantum is not a mature tech where you can just build apps and scale out. You actually have to own the source of the scientific breakthroughs. And we need to become a hub for that. Now, the National Quantum Mission gives us a great foundation on all of this. This report is really about what else do we need to arrive at those endpoints and the roadmap towards that. Now, we looked at this and we said, okay, we have some strengths, But we have some things that are restricting us. We call these unlocks that are needed. And I'll give you a few examples as I call out these unlocks. The first one is around skills. If you look at some of the data here, India actually has the second largest user base using quantum computers today. Right? That's really exciting. That shows the potential that is there in our youth, in our engineers, in our learners and our teachers. But if you look at how much of quantum computing time they are using, we fall down to 11th. That shows that there's something restricting that potential, right? That's an area we have to unlock. Second is around the industry readiness. Do our companies, the large companies that are not quantum, not technology companies, understand what quantum is about, how to use it, how to develop their business towards that? Today we are not there. If you see, we are actually 5th in the number of startups that we have in the country, which is not bad. But if you see the private investment going into this area, we fall down to 15th. Again, shows the potential that's there, but we need to unlock something. Third, very important is ease of doing science and taking from lab to market. We have some great scientists in the country. We have some great R&D centers. And you can see that we have gone up in the Global Innovation Index by 27 points in just 6 years. But that's not enough, because when you look at ease of doing science, we are way behind what foreign nations are ranked at. Right? Again, there's an unlock needed here. And then finally, in terms of the business and trade environment, while we are engaged in a lot of standard settings, we have a long way to go in terms of making sure that the startups want to be here and want to keep IP in India. So this is a sampling of some of the unlocks. There's a lot of detail in the report. Sorry, it went ahead a bit. So finally, on the recommendations, one thing the report recommends is to really double down on some strategic areas. I think we should, the report says we should attack everything, but it's important to prioritize a few strategic areas. There are a few called out here: health and pharmaceuticals, financial services, peripherals is a very important area for near-term opportunity, logistics. And then there's 7 very specific recommendations along with specific actions, and under each of those recommendations, you can find it in the report. These are the 7 recommendations. The first one is around growing a workforce, people, substantially by an order of magnitude in the next 2-3 years across science, engineering, and techno-business skills. The second is to really increase industry's awareness and investment in this space, making them co-developers along with the researchers. The third is improving this ease of doing research and accelerating lab to market in India. And the fourth, which is really important, but it's kind of subtle, is building more risk-taking mindset in our funding agencies and in our research institutions, making it easier to really go after risky projects and reward people who actually step out of their comfort zone and try to do risk-taking. The fifth one is making Indian domicile very attractive to startups. We should be seeing more than 90% of our deep tech startups wanting to domicile and actually domiciling in India rather than elsewhere, so that the IP stays here. That's a target we really need to shoot for. We need to engage with global standards bodies. I found in the study that we do that. However, there's a need to take leadership to really be a lot more proactive, make sure industry and startups are also represented in those standards conversations, so that the products that get developed in India have very good market access at the end of the day. And then very important is to ensure strong trade relations, which are resilient to all of the dynamic things that happen today, so that for the long term we have an ability to be resilient as far as the supply chain and the market access goes. So that completes it. I want to just flash this one slide at the end, acknowledging all the people who provided additional input and the task force that worked on this report. Thank you.
Thank you for that insightful message. We now invite our in-person expert speaker, Dr. Kasturi Saha, Associate Professor, IIT Bombay. She leads the QMET Foundation in Quantum Sensing, Imaging and Meteorology under the National Quantum Mission. A Cornell PhD, she has contributed to the advancement in nonlinear optics and quantum sensing and has undertaken postdoctoral work at MIT. Her recognitions include the INSA Associate Fellowship, the DST Inspires Fellowship, and many others. Please welcome Dr. Kasturi Saha.
So very good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, Devjani, for this fantastic opportunity to really shape how our nation will grow, and as we grow together, how we will contribute and make a mark in a global scale. As the project director of the National Quantum Mission's Quantum Sensing and Metrology Hub, I can only say we have just taken the very initial steps in the development of quantum sensing and metrology technologies. What we are now looking to do in the next couple of years is really to work with various different end users to customize our products, which are going to make it to be field deployable. That is what we are looking at. And just to give you a few examples, we are actually working with atomic magnetometers, we are working with NV center-based magnetometers, as well as quantum imagers. These are the three main technologies that we are currently focusing on. We will be soon focusing also on various other quantum sensing technologies, which we want to make them to be field deployable. Now, for this, we really want to work with a whole bunch of end users, and your partnership, your enthusiasm into making this happen is important and key for our success. What we also need is what has been highlighted many times through this report is upskilling and skilling for development of these technologies, and also as an end user to be able to effectively use these technologies. So therefore, at a very large scale level, we need really a lot of emphasis and inputs from all various sectors to participate and help us grow this entire ecosystem. Another point I want to make is really what we touched upon is the peripheral technologies. Now, entire quantum technology sector, whether it's computing or sensing or communications or even materials, really hinges upon the fact that we have a lot of classical peripheral technologies. Therefore, we must pay attention to those peripheral technologies. Control electronics is one of the very important things that we have to focus on. Optics, optomechanics, this is something that is readily doable. Why can't we do it as a country? Therefore, it is important that all the private sector parties who are already small companies who are working on these small components, please put your hands together and really come forward and help us build this technology, because at the end of the day, if we have to succeed in quantum technologies, we must have all the other components as well, part of it developed indigenously, including the materials and devices that will really play a key role in our quantum technologies. So I won't take much time, but just to really sort of sum it up, it has been a great experience to work with your entire team, Devjani, and hoping to see some of the important, many of the things that has been laid out as the 7-point agenda, that, if I may say, that that we take it forward, really percolate down to the ground level, and we see them implemented. I think that is what is going to get us to that success. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. We now have a few, two small videos of distinguished experts who shared their inputs into the National Quantum Mission. Can you please play them?
Pleasure and privilege to be part of this milestone moment in India's bold journey to become a leading quantum economy. While I'm unable to be with you today, I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you and share my thoughts as you take this defining step forward. Today, I speak as a member of the Expert Council for the Roadmaps report on India's quantum economy. Congratulations to Neti Ayag for publishing this visionary and actionable roadmap. I'd also like to compliment the task force for their dedication in making the roadmap a reality. This report clearly explains the global quantum trajectory of quantum technologies and outlines what ambitious yet achievable goals India can target for 2035. It offers a comprehensive view of the full quantum technology stack and the broader value chain, highlighting India's existing strong capabilities while also identifying areas that require deeper focus. Quantum computing is at an exciting inflection point. Algorithm breakthroughs will soon lead to early demonstrations of quantum advantage, and while hardware systems will continue to advance towards fault-tolerant quantum computing. This report captures these upcoming transitions. The report shows, backed by evidence, how India is strongly positioned with a significant user base, robust investments through the National Quantum Mission, and a solid scientific foundation. It also highlights the unlocks that are needed for India to emerge as a true powerhouse in quantum computing and its application. India has a distinct advantage given its strengths in mathematics, computer science, and software engineering to not only pioneer new quantum algorithms, but also build complete solutions that integrate quantum computing, high-performance computing, and AI to drive real-world impact. I'm especially pleased that the report goes beyond analysis. It moves directly into action. The recommendations on workforce development, fundamental science, and industry engagement are concrete and forward-looking. I believe that these steps create the right conditions for India to cultivate the right ecosystem to produce globally competitive quantum technology products and startups.
I am very happy to note that Niti Aayog is working closely with Telangana government to create a policy and strategy for quantum technologies. From the National Quantum Mission, we are very pleased to see states take a leadership position in different parts of quantum. And the note that has been created and the strategy that has been created looks very, very promising. We at NQM would like to support the government in any manner that you would like. And we have today 4 very successful hubs located in Bangalore, which is IISc for quantum computing. For quantum communication, we have a hub located at IIT Madras. For quantum sensing, we have a hub located at IIT Mumbai. And for materials and devices, we have a hub located at IIT Delhi. In all the 4 areas, we would like to help and support the Telangana government. We believe that one of the first areas that you may want to focus on is to make your state quantum secure. We are soon announcing a policy for making India quantum secure, as very soon you may start to see quantum computers that can crack cybersecurity anywhere. And therefore, this is something that the government may want to seriously look at doing. Research in quantum technologies is another area where Telangana can play a very important role with the education institutions, research institutions located there. And this is something that we can help you with different hubs and see how we can take the whole strategy forward, which has been created by Niti Aayog. I'm very pleased to note that this will be launched on the 4th of December. And I wish you all success for making quantum technologies happen in Telangana.
quantum technology from BFS
to life sciences, defence to citizen services, real pilots use cases for a smarter, safer world, quantum secure cryptography, early warning systems, and hybrid architectures defending the digital state from unseen threat, evolving with the world through global summits, bilateral MOUs, biannual workshops, and strategic research alliances. An advisory council on quantum technologies will steer this evolution, aligning science, strategy, and
security, because leadership in quantum
demands foresight as much as brilliance. From the quantum world emerges intelligence, AI and quantum, converging to redefine how nations think, create, and secure. In Telangana, this convergence takes form in our upcoming Deep Tech Hub, where frontier technologies will unite to power research, startups, and the economy of tomorrow. From uncertainty, Telangana forges clarity. From potential, Telangana builds the future. This is the Telangana Quantum Strategy, and this is the dawn of India's deep tech era. India's quantum and AI future, built in Telangana.
The Telangana Quantum Strategy is a result of sustained effort, engagement across academia, startups, government institutions. It captures some of the insights that we have. And may I request, in addition to the dignitaries on the stage, from the audience, Sri Bhavesh Mishra, Deputy Secretary, Government of Telangana, Professor Indunil from IIIT, Ms. Reena Dayal from QETCI, and the emerging tech team to join us for the launch of the Telangana framework. We now invite one of India's most respected administrators, Shri Divya Subramanian sir. Is the CEO of Niti Aayog and a 1987 batch IAS officer, with a distinguished career that includes 2 tenures in the PMO office, leadership roles at the World Bank, transformative governance in Jammu and Kashmir, and major trade policy reforms as India's Commerce Secretary. He holds advanced degrees from London Business School and the World Trade Institute, Bern. Please welcome Shri Divya Subramanian sir.
Respected Deputy CM Bhatti Vikramarka garu, Minister Sridhar Babu garu, Dr. Saraswat, Member Niti Aayog, Devjani, my friend and colleague Sanjay, distinguished people in the audience. It's an extremely happy day because we are just launched 2 reports. One is a national report which is addressing the whole country, and the second is a state report which is addressing the needs of Telangana. The first report, transforming India into a leading quantum nation, and the second is Telangana's quantum strategy. I think it cannot be a better confluence of the principle of cooperative federalism, that at the national level we draw out the national vision, and at the state level you distill it down to do something at the state level. So I think it's very, very unique, and it's a matter of great pleasure and joy. Now I'll just talk. You have heard a lot of detail about quantum, so without going into the technicalities of quantum, what I'd like to mention is we think quantum is something far away. It is for, scientists, researchers, PhDs, etc. But let me tell you, it is much closer than you think. If you look behind in a rear view mirror, it is actually catching up. And it is going to become mainstream very, very soon. And I think that's the first thing. We're quickly moving from a world of bits into qubits. That's the measurement now that is going to be there. And the pace at which it is changing and advancing is astonishing. Just like AI caught a lot of people unawares. And suddenly you see, today morning I was seeing the usage figures. I mean, ChatGPT has 600 million users, etc. You will find the day not far away when quantum will be a part of day-to-day life. And it is not decades away. It is going to be counted in years. And what took decades to happen in the past is now happening in years. And I think that's the important thing to realize. And as a result of that is what was theory earlier is becoming prototypes now. What was there in labs earlier is actually coming into real world possibilities, real world use cases rapidly. And very often we ignore it, thinking this is something which is slow. But I think the pace at which it is progressing, that's something which we need to keep in mind. What we need to keep in mind is that the quantum world will be real soon, and sooner than what we think. And what does it mean? It will completely reshape the architecture. It will reshape the architecture of our security systems, of our digital security, economic security, national security. You will have to start thinking about it completely differently. It means that there will be huge opportunities but huge risks. Somebody did mention a little while ago that you need to, I think Dr. Chaudhary, who was speaking on the video, that states as a first step should start looking at possible cyber security challenges that will come out of come. But the issue is we'll also have a lot of opportunities, and I'll come to that in just 1 or 2 minutes, But the important thing is, do we want to be a leader or do we want to be a follower? The countries that will lead will set the standards, they will define the new roles, and they will take advantage of products, processes, trade, and it will all benefit the economy. And if you are a follower, which we have been in many areas in the past, it's not a question of catch up. We will actually become dependent on others because it's so fast evolving, there is no catch up. You better be a leader. And the dependency is not just going to be dependency in an economic sense, it is actually going to be a dependency in terms of security. So I think quantum is something we should pay attention to. And the question here is, it is not a question of whether we do quantum. The question is not whether we actually engage and actually master quantum, it's actually how fast we do it. So I think the question is no longer about do we have a choice. There is no choice about it. It's a question of how rapidly do we engage with it. And because quantum is sitting at the intersection of multiple fields, physics, artificial intelligence, material science, cyber, all of them are converging all around this quantum thing, and that's very, very important. The good thing is, and it's very good, and it holds good for Hyderabad, and I'll come to that in a minute. India is strongly positioned to take advantage of the quantum revolution. What are the ingredients that are needed, You need a strong software talent pool. Luckily, we have that. I'm not saying that all of them are quantum ready, but we at least have a strong base to build on very, very fast. And it's undeniable that if we pay the right, attention, we can actually be the strongest as far as the talent pool is concerned. We also, luckily, have a strong base of quantum scientists because we are still in the research area as far as many parts of this field are concerned. And we also have a strong quantum, a very strong entrepreneurial startup setup. So that's the second thing. And the third and most powerful thing which we have in India is we have first-rate digital infrastructure. So the three things are, you need good scientists, you need good software talent pool, and you need digital infrastructure. And if a particular city wants to become a leader in quantum, it also requires the three things: talent, software pool, scientists, and good digital infrastructure. And then it can become leader. And that's what the National Quantum Mission has set out to do. It is not very old, 2023, just 2 years. And we have come quite some distance. Dr. Chaudhary, who again you saw in the video, is associated with the National Quantum Mission, and it's given us a solid start. But I think we should have very ambitious goals. I think the national goal, and it comes out in a report, that by 2035, 10 years from now, India should be one of the top 3 economies in quantum. I mean, nothing less than that would do. After all, we are the 4th largest economy in the world today, soon to become the 3rd largest economy in 3 years' time. should we also not be a top 3 quantum economy? If you look at the amount of R&D money being invested in quantum, we are still about 7 or 8. Even Australia is spending more money on quantum than us. We will have to bump it up, and I think the government is committed to bumping it up. So we should aim to be the 3rd largest economy. And it's not about gradual incremental growth. It should be an exponential leapfrog growth. You just jump and go and take the lead. So we should move from pilots to platforms. We are no longer to be at the pilot stage. Quickly move from pilot to platform, that's important. Research should be commercialized fast so that actually there are end-use products that people can use. And last but not the least, and this is a big, big problem, what we need is not isolated efforts in little cubicles, but coordinated ecosystem-wide effort across the country, across the state, across cities. And here the role of states is very, very important. Why? Who creates the talent pool? States. Where are all the research institutions located? In states. Digital infrastructure is all localized. It's in states. So if you provide the right ecosystem, any location can become a leader in quantum. And that's why Niti Aayog chose Hyderabad as the place to release a national report. The audience of that report is not Hyderabad, it's the whole country. But I think this city has all the ingredients to become a quantum city if it wishes to. And with the right set of policies, Hyderabad can become a quantum city. What does it mean? It's not just being top 3. There is money behind it. There's a huge economy that's going to follow from there. And therefore, the Telangana quantum strategy, which has just been released, is actually the first step. It shows the determination which a committed, proactive state leadership can do if it wants to actually take. The fact that Telangana has taken cognizance of the existence of this field, come out with a quantum strategy, the next step is it should not remain in the books, it should get rolled out. And get rolled out in the field, Hyderabad can be the quantum city of India if the right efforts are made, and that's a fervent desire and that's a wish. You need to focus on research, need to focus on skilling, and you need to focus on innovation. And I think again, the basic ingredients are here. Also, the good thing with the strategy is it kind of synergizes with what the national strategy is. You see, you can't have, ants pulling a grain of rice. They all go in multiple directions. A lot of effort is wasted. If things are actually, everybody pulling in the same direction, you actually achieve more. And I think the Telangana strategy is in alignment with the national strategy, so you can actually deliver results much faster. The Niti report is actually very bold. When you say, I want to be a top 3 economy in quantum economy, it's a very bold statement. But I think it's a doable statement. It's bold, but achievable. India has a globally competitive base. India has a globally competitive, digital infrastructure. And what we have set as a goal in that report is 50% of the global software and services industry that comes out of quantum should be in India. We are early birds. If we do it, just as India rode the IT wave. What you see all around this particular place is a result of the IT wave. It began early 2000s and we built. The second wave was the GCC wave. That also, and actually Hyderabad has actually become a leader. It's gone ahead of many cities as far as GCCs are concerned. There's no doubt about it. If you look at IT, there are about 8 cities in India. But if you look at GCCs, there are only 3 cities in India. So you are one of the 3 from one of the 8. So I think in quantum, if you take the right steps, this country can benefit and the city of Hyderabad can also benefit. We should also quickly move towards integrating quantum solutions in healthcare, in defense and security, in energy. It has uses everywhere. So I think the city can be positioned, the country can be positioned. And India, at the national level, should become a partner of the global south. I think that's one of the biggest achievements of India is what we do is applicable all over Africa, Central Asia. So what we do in India, we can actually help other countries also adopt quantum. So with this, I'd only like to end saying time does not wait for anyone. The quantum revolution is not going to wait for you. You have to go out and grab it. And I think today is the first step in going ahead and for us to make the right moves to grab this revolution. I'm sure that with the talent that is there, the infrastructure is there, and most importantly, the willpower that is there, India can be a top quantum nation And the city of Hyderabad can be a quantum city of India. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those inspiring words. We definitely look forward to Hyderabad being the quantum capital, if you will, of India. Our next speaker, we are honored to hear from one of the most celebrated scientists of India, Dr. V.K. Saraswat, member Niti Aayog, former DG of DRDO, is the architect of India's indigenous missile program, including Prithvi, Dhanush, Prahar, Agni 5 and the ballistic missiles. His contributions span cybersecurity, silicon photonics, hydrogen ecosystem, alternate energy, and national transportation frameworks. A Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan awardee, he continues to guide India's strategic scientific direction. Please welcome Dr. Saraswat.
Namaskar. Very good afternoon. Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Telangana, Shri Bhatti Vikramarka Mallu Garu, Dr. Sridhar Babu, the Minister for IT, my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Shri Subramaniam, another friend and colleague, Sanjay Kumar, and Ms. Devjani Ghosh, who has been pioneering the frontier technology agenda in Niti Aayog and has done a wonderful job by collating and coordinating this particular report which has been released today. Congratulations to the team which has done a wonderful work, and I had the opportunity to go through this report and I found it absolutely wholesome. It really lays down the roadmap for what India should do. And I fully endorse the views of Mr. Subramaniam that while we may be doing more, but we can do it. It is possible. Why quantum matters today? Because quantum technologies are transitioning rapidly from what used to be a theoretical construct once upon a time to engineered systems. I only can give you one simple example. Our national quantum mission is only 2 years old, not even 2 years old. But our industry, our startup companies have already started talking of 25 qubit, 50 qubit computers which are coming on front. So there is a significant amount of progress that has been taking place. World over, if you look at it, I think people have already reached more than 100. So the construct is what is important. And it is not just one domain. It is computing, it is communication, it is sensing, it is materials, and I will not underrate and leave out simulation. Globally, countries have invested huge amount of money, $10 billion, and racing towards quantum advantage. We have to also look at where do we stand with respect to this kind of an investment. Basically, this technology will determine the competitiveness across artificial intelligence, cyber security, drug discovery, even the chip design tomorrow, climate modeling, national security, and advanced manufacturing. All of them will be part of this. For India, I must say the quantum capability is vital for technological sovereignty. We cannot, as Mr. Subramaniam mentioned, we have been doing catch-up. I think we have to come out of this catch-up game. We have to be in the leading position, and for that this technological sovereignty has to be achieved. We have to be strategically independent, and we should be able to achieve through this the economic security. While the report has done tremendous amount of work in terms of doing SWOT, strength, weakness and threat analysis, I fully endorse some of those views. But India has entered this era with a strong STEM talent what we have today. We have deep software engineering capabilities and a globally respected and robust digital public infrastructure. In fact, when I presented that in one of the seminars in France, I think it was appreciated the kind of India tech what we have today. It is something unmatchable. The National Quantum Mission is a good exercise which has seeded research hubs, communication pilots, materials programs, and early computing experiments. One of the hub leader, Madam, has already given presentation, and in fact she is doing wonderful work. The kind of work which is being done on the quantum sensors. Madam, I want to mention to you that when I was secretary DRDO, not even secretary, even scientist working for developing the missiles, In those days, in 2004, 2005, we were talking about atomic interferometry gyroscopes for meeting the long-range requirements of the missiles and all that. At that time, nobody was talking about quantum. 2004, I don't think we had anything about it. But the physics was known, and we knew that this kind of a sensor can be developed. Very happy to know that you are doing a magnetometer today. So this is the kind of a thing that will certainly drive the agenda. Indigenous development of superconducting qubits, photonic processors, and cold atom systems is progressing in the laboratories. TIFR is doing a wonderful work. Vijay Raghavan's team is developing the system. But I think we have to change our track in that. I was reading recently an article where the UK team has developed a system in which the entire quantum portion is separately put on underground and rest all is in the 19 size racks where the entire control is coming, entire detail. It looks as if you are not working on a quantum computer, you are working on a typical digital HPC or something like that. I think we'll have to look at some of these configurations which are emerging across. Our department, some of them have done wonderful work. For example, ISRO has demonstrated the satellite-based quantum key distribution, which positions India among the few nations capable of secure quantum communication. ANRF has an agenda for doing high-end research in this particular race. Other initiatives are taken by MIT and DRDO, which reinforce the national effort to create a secure quantum communication backbone. These form a strong foundation. That means these are areas in which work is going on and some leadership positions are going to be achieved. Taking clue from what India's quantum vision from 2035, I think the report also covers, and many of you have talked about it. We should be able to build about 10 plus globally competitive quantum startups, and each with significant revenue and global standing. That should be one of our mission by 2035. We should be able to achieve over a 50% share of the global quantum software and the service market. Deploy quantum technologies across at least 3 major sectors, including strategic sectors like defense, health, chemicals, petroleum, and finance. We should be able to attain strong control over critical points of global quantum supply chain, making India a net exporter of quantum hardware. As somebody was talking about, we should not be only looking at the basic quantum thing. The peripherals are very important. We can actually bring peripherals at the same speed levels or equal to, or some of them, which will match very closely in terms of accuracy, speed, and size to meet the requirement of the future quantum systems. We should be a net exporter of quantum hardware and software and hold some IPs. India as a global hub for foundational breakthroughs in quantum technology is my wish. So there are technology pathways and there are sectoral impacts. I mentioned to you about quantum computing, communication, materials and sensing from technology backbone of India's strategic advancement. And what are the areas which we are looking at? One of them is national security and quantum safe encryption, quantum key distribution networks, advanced sensors and GPS independent navigation is what we are looking at. Coming from defense, I look at it as a major requirement. And in fact, in our city and next door, close to IIIT Hyderabad, there's an institution in University of Hyderabad called C.R. Rao Advanced Institute of Mathematics, Computer Science and Statistics. The team there is already working on post-quantum cybersecurity. There's a phenomenal work going on. Quietly, some few scientists are working on that. I'm sure we have to make use of them and collaborate with them. Healthcare and pharma. I heard the talk of Mr. Krishnala the other day in ASCII. At about 3 months or 4 months back, he was talking about the use of quantum simulation for drug discovery, molecular optimization, and diagnostic analysis. Manufacturing and materials is another area which should certainly be taken care of. Cryogenics, photonics, cryo-CMOS, high purity materials, superconducting devices, and control electronics. Telangana, sir, I would like to remind you that we have opened Photonics Valley Corporation. I was associated in that particular exercise. I think Photonics Valley Corporation should be made a major hub for developing all the components and devices which go into the quantum. It should become one of the major sources. We have the necessary background and we have taken this step much ahead of time. I think it should be taken in that particular form. Finance, portfolio optimization, risk modeling, fraud detection and quantum secure communication. Mobility and logistics, that would be basically in terms of quantum enhanced sensors and optimization tools and secure mobility networks. That's what should be our focus. And climate and agriculture, as many of you have mentioned, that is where IIT Bombay's work will be very, very important. Quantum sensors, madam, and enabling precision agriculture using them tomorrow. That should be done. So what are the critical enablers for India's quantum push? As all of you have mentioned, we have the right talent. Tens of thousands of quantum professionals will be needed across physics, engineering, materials, artificial intelligence, and computing. Interdisciplinary programs, industry, university pipelines, and global fellowships must expand rapidly. I think this is another demand. We mentioned about hardware, peripherals, and materials. We should develop the domestic capability in cryogenics. In fact, I was wondering, many of my startup companies today are waiting for the import of dilution refrigerator. I do not see any major reason why a dilution refrigerator cannot be designed and developed in our country with the kind of technologies we have in cryogenics and the materials we have. We can do it. It's a question of market. We should be able to take it forward. Strengthen the Indian semiconductor mission. It is vital for fabrication aligned with the quantum requirements. We need to do industry-led innovation, co-innovation labs, early adoption pilots, and industry-driven R&D will accelerate this maturity. And I think that some of the startups which have come in this area are already doing some very good work, but I think it's the bigger industry which has to now play a major role. There are some innovation platforms like IDEX, which has already powered the quantum startups, building sensors and secure communication tools, which illustrate the potential of our startup systems. Another area which we need to really do it, I think we should not shy away from the fact that standards are required. If we don't do the benchmarking, the trust will not be there. We have to do the standards. So India must lead in global quantum standards, security protocols, benchmarking frameworks, and reliability certification. I think this is one area where globally we can even collaborate. A national benchmarking program will enhance trust and accelerate commercialization. If you really want to commercialize, you need to have standards. If quantum becomes pervasive, ethical use, cyber resilience, and sustainability must be built into the design from the outset. What is the risk if we don't act? Dependence on foreign hardware and loss of strategic autonomy. We will be catching up. I think we should avoid. Rising cyber security vulnerabilities. All the solutions will come from outside and you will be vulnerable. Then migration of quantum talent will take, it already many of them are going, but it will happen more. So early startups to foreign ecosystems we will be feeding. Loss of India's opportunity to lead the global south in trusted quantum technologies. These are the risks. City of Telangana, city of Hyderabad in Telangana. I have an emotional attachment with this because I have spent about 45 years of my professional life in this city of Hyderabad, building missiles and many other systems later. So I certainly have a very good idea that this country is one of the best research and education hub. We have the defense labs here, we have production centers from defense, we have IITs, we have IIIT, we have universities like University of Hyderabad, JNTU, Usmania, some of the wonderful educational institutions. They all are capable of working together provided we set the goal for them. Provided we give them that Telangana is driving the agenda for quantum tomorrow. As Mr. Subramaniam mentioned, we have the necessary framework. I think we have to just put it across. platforms like T-Hub, T-Works, V-Hub have built one of the India's strongest innovation system. India's quantum mission will be achieved through cooperative federalism, and that is what we are doing. National direction combined with a strong state-led innovation and industry engagement. That is what we need to do. The roadmap is discussed in the report. All the 7 steps are very, very important, sir. They are very, very clear. It defines the operational architecture that will drive this mission forward. It is more than a plan. It declares that India's growth will be powered by scientific excellence, technological sovereignty, and innovation-led industry. We have to build full-stack quantum capability from hardware to software. We have to establish national test beds and validation centers, foster deeper collaboration between academia, startups, and public sector undertakings, reform procurement models to allow pilot projects and early stage adoption. In fact, I want to just mention to one startup company came, they made some simulator, and they want to give it to that government agencies should take it. Unfortunately, even today, the government agencies say, we have to do the tender. If you come through, I'll be able to buy your item. Now, that's not the way quantum can be done. We have to support by early procurement of the systems which are developed by our startup companies. We have to embed ethics, security, and sustainability into the DNA of our innovation. We emphasize partnership across ministries, industries, and international allies to ensure scale, standards alignment, and shared prosperity. Niti Aayog will ensure this vision moves decisively from paper to practice. Coordinate efforts across ministries, laboratories, states, and industry. It will harmonize regulation, mission funding, and procurement models. It will catalyze private investment and international collaboration rooted in the trust and scientific integrity. It will establish monitoring, benchmarking, and evaluation framework to track national progress. With Niti Aayog's stewardship, India's quantum ambition becomes a coordinated national mission, not a collection of isolated initiatives. To conclude, I would say India now has a one-in-a-generation opportunity to shape the global quantum landscape. The time is critical. Quantum today is at the same inflection point that the internet was in the early 90s or AI a decade ago. Nations that act decisively now will define not only the technology but also the geopolitics and economic models of the future. This roadmap signals a clear intent. India will not be a participant but a nation that defines the quantum future, where innovation drives industry, science strengthens security, and knowledge elevates national pride. Together, we can transform India into a leading quantum-powered economy, and Telangana and city of Hyderabad can play a major role with the kind of political will, the kind of scientific temper, the kind of talent, and the kind of infrastructure what we have. We can anchor economy in innovation secured by science and driven by national pride. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. May I invite now a visionary leader who has played a pivotal role in shaping Telangana's tech and industry landscape. He began his journey as a lawyer in the AP High Court, but quickly turned towards politics, becoming one of India's youngest legislators of the time, carrying forward a proud legacy of leadership. As a tech-savvy leader with visionary approach, he is committed to making Hyderabad the next AI capital with focus on emerging tech. Sridhar Babu sir's journey began with strategic initiatives to position Telangana as a premier destination for global investments, and he is an influential voice in AI today in governance and in industry. Please welcome Sridhar Babu sir, Honorable Minister, ITEC, Industries and Commerce and Legislative Affairs.
Andariki namaskaram. Very good afternoon to all. On the days from government, our Hon'ble Deputy Chief Minister Sri Bhatti Vikramarka garu, Member Niti Aayog Sri Dr. V.K. Saraswat, CEO Niti Aayog Sri B.V.R. Subramanian garu, distinguished fellow of Niti Aayog, Ms. Devanshi Ghosh. Along with me on the dais, our special Chief Secretary, Mr. Sanjay Kumar, with my leaders from the industry, and also the researchers, scientists, and the academic professors, the director IIIT, and the team over here for hosting us, and friends from the media. You know, I'm here to say, and frankly speaking, after hearing to Ms. Debjani Ghosh and Subramanian Garu and Mr. Saraswat, and also going through what Amit has given as a presentation, when Jay Gambit, Ajay Chowdhury, and Ms. Shah has gave their presentations, it was absolutely insightful. For the roadmap, and also telling us how to transform our economies into a leading quantum powered economies. And before I do, and before I present my government vision towards it, you know, we take pride in two Telugu men here sitting. Sir, I also consider you as a Telugu man. Subramanian Garu is a very renowned, seasoned bureaucrat, done many roles at the national level. And we know about Saraswat. One shot of big award from the nation. And in fact, you know, from NASCOM, you know, Ms. Debjani Ghosh, we know you, ma'am, since a long time, who is a visionary leader in terms of technology. And while she was presenting on the frontier and technologies, how they can disrupt, how we can make use of these technologies. You know, in fact, you know, she spends